Our story begins with the ever-changing world known as Geodia that is home to 5 main regions: the Vinelands, Golden Woods, Acid Bog, Sinking Sands, and Titan's Ridge. This world was said to be created by 5 beings known as the Astronomer, Architect, Geologist, Biologist, and Philosopher. In order to escape the unraveling chaos of their universe, the 5 beings harnessed the power of an infinite source called the Foundation Stone. The Astronomer, with their vast knowledge of the stars, found a place for the other 4 founders to begin their work, starting with the Architect, who, with their knowledge of structure and form, were able to create vaults that protected the Foundation Stone and its secrets. There was the Geologist, that sported knowledge of tectonics to cast a world in sand and stone. Then there was the Biologist, who, with their knowledge of organic creation, imbued the Foundation Stone with the power to create life. And lastly, there was the Philosopher, who could pretty much see into the future and said, "Hey, bad guys are gonna touch the crystal, so I'm gonna give myself and my descendants access to the vaults with this heirloom that I'll pass down, making whomever the chosen hero." And just as everything's going dandy, the Geologist finds out that burning the Foundation Stone produces even more power than how they traditionally harnessed it to begin with. So this dummy sets the whole Foundation Stone on fire, causing it to burst into a million bajillion pieces that would then go on to be known as Sparklite, as it beautifully rained across the land. Many generations have passed since then, and so the journey unfolds following the tale of a girl named Ada, who we are introduced to right in the middle of her airship breaking down. Ada's trusty partner Wingnut aids her in a safe evacuation of the ship before it crash lands in the Vinelands. When Ada finally makes it down to land, she recovers her family pendant that she lost during the evacuation of the ship and gains access to one of the previously mentioned vaults, receiving long-lost knowledge in the form of an epiphany. She then proceeds to look for her companion Wingnut and does in fact find him right in front of one of the Baron's Titans, which I will begin to explain. You see, the current world of Geodia isn't doing much better than it was before, currently because of a man called the Baron, who with his money, influence, and power began drilling into the planet's crust in search of the vaults and the rest of the Foundation Stone. He drills into the planet with these giant mechanical beasts he's created called Titans, which are powered by Sparklite combustors, and not only does drilling cause the planet's surface to constantly shift due to the nature of the Foundation Stone, but also on top of that, the Sparklite combustors that power them produce heavy pollutants that mutate Geodia's creatures into monsters and even make some go on the brink of extinction. After Ada's unfortunate encounter with the Baron's first Titan, she wakes up aboard a place called the Refuge. The Refuge is a settlement that flies high up in the sky, powered by Sparklite to avoid the constant worsening shifts on the planet below. Ada receives assistance from the friendly people aboard the Refuge and makes her way back down to defeat the Titan and reclaim her partner. Once Ada defeated the Titan, she was imparted knowledge by the Philosopher that she was the chosen hero and had to stop the Baron and other Titans before it was too late. Ada returned to the Refuge with Wingnut by her side to learn more of the other Titans and then set off to the other regions of Geodia. Following Ada's triumph over 4 of the 5 Titans, she makes her way to the last Titan's location, only to find she is too late and the Baron has finally gotten his path to the Foundation Stone. Ada presses forward and approaches the Baron. After a short exchange, the Baron sets the Refuge to combust, and so the showdown between Ada and the Baron has begun. After besting the Baron and his minions in combat, Ada returns to the Refuge to find it and everyone else safe. I have to say, when it comes to the controls of this game, they honestly feel really nice and well tuned. Movement is very fluid, range of motion feels nice, and it feels like there's almost zero lag on input when I attack or do pretty much any action, which can be very frustrating to me if there is. Ada's main weapon of choice is her multi-tool wrench that, you guessed it, is also a hammer and just not different size wrenches or like a corkscrew. I don't know, it's weird. She has a 3-hit wrench combo that is really gracious with its range if you use the edge of the hitbox well, and if you hold down the attack button instead of tapping it, she charges up her hammer. Ada also comes equipped with a pair of rocket boots that allow her to dash in and out of sticky situations. The boots do have a brief moment of vulnerability at the end of the dash, so do be careful when using it. Down on the world of Geodia, you can find these things called widgets, which are consumable items ranging from having the effect of tiny explosions to HMO5. They are very cleverly designed, I think, as far as their uses go, but most of them can be rather not worth using in combat. You can use them to interact with the world to make puzzles easier and access hidden areas. Widgets do not stay with you once you return to the refuge, which you will probably be doing a lot, or if you die on your run down below, which can be really easy to do. If you slip up, don't worry, because you get to keep that sweet Sparklite that you'll be harvesting as it's the currency of this world. Another nice thing is that there's a few collectibles down below, that being patches and beads. Patches are great because you can apply them to your multi-tool to gain a multitude of abilities. There's health, damage, defense, and the list goes on. You can even upgrade your multi-tool to hold more patches and fuse your patches together to make them even stronger at the cost of little Sparklite. But the nice part about it is it's completely optional. You can run in dry. Beats, on the other hand, cannot be so fun. They can sometimes be a pain to find, especially if you only have one left in a region to find, which means you have to explore the entire area for one single beat. But I will say the payoff is worth collecting them all. A spectacle to behold, and an easy way to extend my video. It was very nice. Ooh. There are some notes that I want to leave off on. First, the game doesn't have a mini-map, which I think is kind of dumb, considering you can get a patch to reveal the area, but you have to pause the screen to see it, and when the land changes every time you go down to explore it, it can be a pain in the ass to know where you're going, which leads me into another complaint. Why can you not start off in a region if you've already unlocked it? I get what they were going for, always having you start in the same area, but the slog can be really killer if you're trying to be somewhere else. Swapping out widgets in your equipment have the same problem as the map, being you have to pause to do so, which is only extra frustrating because the left trigger button goes unused, and I think it would have been a perfect place for a widget wheel or an equipment wheel to fast swap or something, not just left alone. Loading times can be a little long on the Switch version, which is a bit of a turn-off when playing the game, but I suppose loading just isn't the Switch's forte, so I can't be too harsh on the game for that. It's not its fault particularly. Most of the enemies and bosses, honestly, are a letdown when it comes to diversity and difficulty. I mean, I'm pretty sure somebody at Red Bull Games has a spitting fetish and enjoys gangbangs. The enemies only tend to be good in numbers, or if your movement is restricted by the game. Acid Ball kinda sucks. The final boss fight, on the other hand, is an amazing fight and hands down the best one in the game. If you're not prepared, the Baron will serve you up like one of his pizzas at 350 degrees. And so, at the end of the day, I would give this game a solid 3 out of 5 if I was using that scoring system, and don't get me wrong, I really like this game, I love it. It even made me make a review about it. I just feel like there was plenty of room for improvement, but I am also excited to see what comes next from them. I put a decent amount of work into this video, so feedback would be plenty appreciated. And if you like what you saw here, please consider giving us a subscribe. We release content 5 days a week usually, and most importantly, don't forget to enjoy yourselves.